Hello there and welcome back to some more Gran Turismo 5. Today we'll continue on Let's Play. This is episode 19. In today's episode we are taking a look at the Top Gear Test Track Intermediate. This time we're no longer dealing with the pesky Samba buses, it's time to move on to more extreme machinery. In this case, a Lotus Elise 111Rs from 2004, the quickest vehicle you'll drive around the Top Gear Test Track. I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's just the way this goes. You'll see why that is when we get to the Top Gear Test Track Advanced. Anyways, you're of course against a bunch of other Lotus Elises, and your goal is to pass all of them and reach the top spot before the end of the 2 laps. Now, as I discussed previously at the Top Gear Test Track, a lot of the tactics in terms of getting this done right still do apply to the Lotus Elise. Don't get me wrong, a Lotus Elise is a little bit more of a challenging vehicle to drive than the Samba bus, but it will be a lot more fun to drive. You've just got to get used to the idea of driving mid-engined rear-wheel drive cars, and in this game, when something's mid-engined rear-wheel drive, essentially what that means is the rear wheels and the front wheels want to become really good friends and swap numbers. And by swap numbers, I mean swap ends, and by swap ends, I mean they just want to kill you all the time. Your best bet here is there's multiple passing points, don't get me wrong, you just need to be really aware of track limits and the cones. As usual, the cones at Chicago are your biggest issue. You do get disqualified for big collisions, but for sort of light taps and so on, you should be alright. So it's often a lot better to bump the AI at Chicago as opposed to bumping yourself into the cones, which will get you instantly disqualified. As you see, I actually managed to jump a fair few people through the first few 2 corners, which is essentially what you want to do. The Lotus is the least challenged more than any of the other ones. I believe for this one I got into the lead pretty darn early, and then it was essentially just a run towards the start. Going too wide through the follow-through, not the best idea in the world. The green car does try to fight it, but it isn't great. Coming into this second to last corner, as I discussed with the Samba buses, you can take a hell of a lot more speed through there than the AI will. I know your brain wants to take that corner really slowly, but trust me, I've driven the Top Gear track probably a lot. Well, I've driven the Top Gear track a lot. I don't know if I've quite driven it more than a vast majority of the population, but if I had to guess, probably yeah, because I did the entire season of Forza Top Gear laps. I've done 5 of those, so I think I did work out how many laps of the Top Gear Test Track I've done just in that series alone in my life. I'm fairly certain it was well over 5,000 laps, so yeah, to say I'm pretty used to this track is an understatement. But yeah, there's multiple passing points. Your best bet is that corner up there, I forgot the name of it. We just went past the AI, take a really wide angle through there, and you can just skim down the inside of them. The Hammerhead, not a bad little passing place as well, although you do definitely need to be wary of the cones, and even where there isn't cones, sometimes going outside the track limits will just DQ you straight away. But once you get into the front, it's just a case of preserve your advantage. Try not to hit too many of the cones. If you feel like you need to be a bit more cautious, then you can do so, just to reduce some pressure on you, because the AI aren't massively quick around this course. But anyways, as you can see, we sort of do a little bit of a drift, bit of tyre squiggle going on, and we are across the line and done with the Lotus Elises here at Top Gear. A nice golden trophy. Yeah, not particularly difficult. I would actually say that's slightly better than the Samba buses, just because it's a bit less painful. 48,000 credits from all of that, and a decent chunk of XP, as you would expect from these special events. They do pay out pretty bloody well, as we've discussed numerous times, hence why I'm doing them now as opposed to leaving them for later. But yeah, that isn't too bad of a Top Gear test track to do, really. Like I said, it's less painful than Samba buses, might not be quite as easy, quote unquote, but considering the amount of time that you just spend trying to accelerate in the sand bus, it'll go quicker regardless. And for getting a gold trophy in that, we do get a prize car. We unlock the Lotus Elise Type 72, which is a special edition of the Lotus Elise with black paintwork and gold wheels designed to harken back to the John Player special Lotus F1 cars of old, and it's a reasonably good car to boot. It is equipped with the Rover K-Series motor over the Toyota Celica engine, which is more commonly known with the Elises, so it is a little bit down on power, only 118 brake horsepower, but it's still a Lotus Elise. It's pretty nimble, pretty quick, and should be a decent car for the start of the game. Anyways, that's it for this episode. Thank you all very much for watching. Next time, I'm going to be taking a look at Jeff Gordon's NASCAR school at the intermediate level, so join us for that. Until then, farewell.